This is NC State Dendrology. I am coming to you in early June from Linville Gorge. I'm on the east side, up on top of Short Off Mountain. This is a pretty steep climb to get up here, but this is really a spectacular view of Linville Gorge. Let me show it to you and talk about what we're seeing here. So down below, we're seeing Lake James. I'm looking actually due south. And you can see the big water body is Lake James. But what I really want you to pay attention to are these blackened stumps. This is a good clue that we had fire here. I know there was a fire here in 2013 in the fall, November, that started as a campfire at Table Mountain at the campground just north of, just north of Table Rock. And you can see the blackened stumps. I need to check and see if there was more recent fire. But then when you look at this little saddle that's below me, you can see some interesting things. We've got, that is Kalmia buxifolia, so the cutest Kalmia. Sand myrtle, which has a really cool bimodal distribution of coastal plain and mountains, but not in the Piedmont. And right next to it is Rhododendron carolinianum, which flowers in early spring. And you might be able to see the turkey vulture soaring below. The river down below here is the Linville River, and you can see evidence from Hurricane Helene and the scour. See how those little dry rocky bars that are in here. And then in the foreground, I want you to look at, you can see the blackened stumps, and then look at all of the regeneration. Probably this is Table Mountain pine. Could be some pitch pine, and we've got mountain laurel sprouting up, red maple of course, and some of our heaths. But to me this is really good evidence, right? So pitch pine and Table Mountain pine are both fire adapted species. Pitch pine will regenerate from the root sprouts and also from epicormic branching. And then Table Mountain pine has serotinous cones. And you can see that there's lots of very small pines that are down here, and I'm guessing that those generated after the 2013 fire. If you look at this knob that's poking out, you can see the fire has not affected that. It's definitely still dry and rocky up on top, but the canopy is intact. I don't see a lot of fire evidence there, although there could be some if we look a little bit more closely. So this is an interesting story of fire ridge lines, like pine ridges, right? These are ridges that are susceptible to lightning strikes, and traditionally fires were allowed to burn, but because we have suppressed fire since colonial times, we have a big reduction in the amount of fire and therefore the amount of pine in our mountain forests in North Carolina. So overall, right, this fire did not have any human impact and served to help regenerate the pine that was here. So if fire is suppressed over a long period of time, the pines will eventually die out. Some of these areas have very gnarly rocky pines. They're kind of old growth pines, even though they're not very tall, because hardwoods just won't grow there. The soil depth is limited. But one thing I'm seeing here is red maple, and so that's going to grow up and become a competitive issue for these pines unless it gets another dose of fire, probably. But that is a little story about pine ridge lines in the Southern Appalachians and North Carolina specifically. And this is NC State Dendrology coming to you from Linville Gorge and Short Off Mountain.